Let's go. Niggas, press record, yeah? Hit the big red button on the side. Alright.
Yo, who's that? Who's that? Who is it? It's time for introduction. We bring you the worldwide bona fide, all the other wide, I'm a forerunner, got eyed, Mr. Negus, Mr. J.O. inside. When we come bout, and when we come bout, we come rough, tough, well dangerous, those that know we are conscious. We're here to let you know that these are the vibes and these are the presents that you need to adhere to as we roll through. If you're gonna talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk, fam. Touch the sky crew, live your life, it's a tooth for tooth life. Eye for eye as we roll the dice, just a word to the wise. We're gonna talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk, fam. Touch the sky crew, live your life, it's a tooth for tooth life. Eye for eye as we roll the dice, just a word to the wise. Now I won't lie, set the soul like left. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Now I won't lie, set the soul like left, right, left. If you're gonna talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk, fam. Touch the sky crew, live your life, it's a tooth for tooth life. Eye for eye as we roll the dice, just a word to the wise. You're gonna talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk, fam. Touch the sky crew, live your life, it's a tooth for tooth life. Eye for eye as we roll the dice, just a word to the wise. Put your mouth with your money, it's your sleeve on your heart. Your pride to the side, run up in the skylark. It's your bite quicker than your bite, you better play your part. Can you finish what you start or leave the wheel turning? Dare you to walk, come out, I dare you to run. Have you got the backbone, stick to your guns. It's the fat lady song, it's the fat lady singing. You don't get the scrimmage if you don't get the bringing. Now I won't lie, set the soul like left, right, left, right, left, right. Now I won't lie, set the soul like left, right, left. If you're gonna talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk, fam. Touch the sky crew, live your life, it's a tooth for tooth life. Eye for eye as we roll the dice, just a word to the wise. You're gonna talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk, fam. Touch the sky crew, live your life, it's a tooth for tooth life. Eye for eye as we roll the dice, just a word to the wise. If you're gonna talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk, fam. Touch the sky crew, live your life, it's a tooth for tooth life. Eye for eye as we roll the dice, just a word to the wise. Gonna talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk, fam. Touch the sky crew, live your life, it's a tooth for tooth life. Eye for eye as we roll the dice, just a word to the wise.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to twitch.tv/opnoobsonline. I have not done this in a very long time. I'll be your host tonight. My name is Fred Britzi, founder of opnoobs.com. And excited to bring on board a team of experienced critics. I guess I can call you guys critics. Especially you, Natsume, with your fancy wallpaper.
Hey, that's brilliant stuff back there, dude.
I love it. It's actually, but I gotta say, like your design skills have evolved.
Yeah.
I was introduced to you as the producer of the original Far Cry, and this is a Far Cry from Far Cry.
It is indeed. This is actually, so we started.
They hired you in
2005.
that Ubisoft
No,
and they said yes.
No, this is post Far Cry. I made this after Far Cry. No, when we started our own studio after
He's
Far
like, this
Cry.
game is shit.
This was our first game.
Indie.
Yep, I was like, I want communist jellies from space in my game. I want them in flying saucers and come on, wait, I got
it. Looks like the logo looks like a combination of the Space Jam logo and a ring pop, dude.
I know, it's the worst. It's absolute worst. I can't. We thought it was such a good idea at the time, so I keep it around to keep me humble.
Didn't age well, dude.
It sucked in 2005. I mean, it was bad back then. So
I mean, in comparison to a lot of stuff we see on Steam in 2020, I'd say it's still pretty advanced, Chris. You still.
All right, fair enough. We're
still ahead of the game. We've got a good show. We've got a good show for you guys tonight. We've got our regular people. The show will be back regularly, I promise, every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Religiously. And what is the show? The Noobcast is essentially the selection of a selection. The first selection being us looking at just about 150 games that come out on Steam every week. And finding the top 15 to 20 games that we're going to make available to our writers so that we can review them on the site. And out of this list of 15 games, we go even further into chunking it down to 7 games, which are the games you're going to be looking at tonight. This week's actually a pretty good list in gaming. We've got 13 total games curated out of 111 games releasing, and I can give you the stats. That's 11.71% of all PC games considered that we've selected for you. And yes, and we're also gonna be doing some giveaways. We've got Chasm, in terms of indie games, Chasm, Fluffy Horde, regular Hitman Basketball, Sword Legacy Amen, and for the raffle, which you can sign up at opnoobs.com/raffle, you've got the game Prey, which is an excellent game. If you haven't played Prey from Bethesda, still a killer publisher in my opinion, one of the few that keeps it together. And yeah, we'll be giving that away with the fancy fortune wheel at the end of the show. So who
would have guessed back in the day that there would ever be a 2020? No, who would have guessed that there would be
Your microphone just went weak.
Nope. Yep, it just went right up, dude.
Whoa, is it still bad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. I've got settings. Let's see what I can do.
Whisper.
What about that? Is that better? Are we better now?
Yeah, a little bit better. Go ahead, say something again.
What happened?
It's picking up everything.
What happened?
Dude, you sounded like a meme.
It became a communist-like microphone, apparently.
Like a propaganda. No,
it's better.
I think you're a bit better.
Okay.
So now let's try that again. Who would have guessed? Go.
No. All right, is it still bad? Are we good? No, see, now the joke's not funny. But I was going to say, who would have guessed that in 2020 we would be like, Bethesda, that's a great company. Blizzard, they suck. Like, who would have thought that would happen, right?
Yeah, and Blizzard, actually, since we last met, Blizzard pulled another one again because they came out with Warcraft Reforged. I forget somebody reviewed it on our site. Nick reviewed it on our site and he gave it a 6 out of 10, which is still a decent score with us, actually, 6 out of 10. But I think the mainstream press, they all came together and said this is not what we were expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, who would have thought Bethesda, good guys of 2020? Like that's the last holdout of good game companies. Like, who would have guessed, right?
What's up with Blizzard? Like, where's the disconnect? You think it's Ubisoft? It's
Activision.
Activision?
Yeah, that's right. Activision buys Blizzard, and 2 years later, Blizzard sucks. There's no mystery here, right? I mean, it's the great fucking Death Star.
I mean, I'm a huge
It's a shame.
Blizzard. I'm a huge Blizzard fan, and I don't think Blizzard sucks. I think they had a major. I think they had a major just what the F moment at the BlizzCon, like a year or 2 years ago with Diablo, and like
it was a year and a half ago, and that was the switch of the guard. Mike announced he's leaving. You lost the last of the old guard and the former president from Blizzard.
Right,
so
but Blizzard.
They have their new president. They have a new direct line that's basically responding, as far as I can tell, to ATVI requests, and Activision is 100% behind the calls. So there will be colossal fuck ups left and right, as far as I know.
I like to think that Blizzard is bigger than one guy now, or just a handful of guys who made it happen.
Right. What's their next big release? Is it Overwatch 2?
Yeah.
The new WoW expansion as well too. There's a bunch of
So
stuff
there's a
coming
WoW
out.
expansion, Overwatch 2.
People still play that? That's a thing still?
Which one?
Yeah. Come on.
Really?
Yeah.
I play WoW
which
every
one?
day. I play WoW every day of my life, and I have done so for the last
I feel like you've made a commitment to that, Fred.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, Boomer. I don't know what to tell you there.
I wake up, I put my Nespresso in the coffee maker, I take it out, I go to my computer, it's nighttime, the kids are asleep, and I play WoW.
Sounds like a good life.
It's a great life.
I don't know. And then afterwards, you go out to the shed and make buggy whips. What do you? I mean, old time games by Fred.
Oh no!
The new expansion actually looks pretty good. I might play it.
Yeah,
And
man,
I haven't
WoW
gotten
is-
into WoW in a
I mean, you
long
can't
time.
go wrong with WoW, man. WoW is the game.
I couldn't do it. I just couldn't get into it. It's nothing against it. I recognize that it was a good game, but I was just, I don't have the time.
Yeah, it was great in
It was-
2010 when I
it was
didn't
the
know
same
any
thing as
better.
Eve.
It's 2020, for Christ's sake. There's been like 6,000 games released since then. Play some of them.
Logan, you want to back me up here?
I still have a subscription to WoW, and I do play when the X packs come out. And I was playing Classic for a little while, at which point it started to feel like.
Go defend that. Defend that position.
No, I can't
Don't
defend
defend
it.
Classic.
Okay, thank you.
I can't-
Classic
I
to
went
me
to play it.
was shameful, like, because when Classic came out, I first of all, it was shameful because I think, WoW evolved organically. There's no need to go back to the Classic style.
It was a weird adapted version, and it was for the people that never had a chance to experience it. And I went to experience it again. I'd been there already, so it was like an ex-girlfriend that I am no longer dating.
Yeah.
I went back because I thought the sex was great, and then out
Right.
of nowhere, I'm like, "You're fucking like, I'll see you in like 6 years of therapy."
It was 1 hour
way
of
better.
nostalgia and 6 hours of regret.
I
Yeah.
only
don't
thought
know.
you were good because you were my first girlfriend,
Yeah.
and then I just realized there were so many more better things.
And you got so much better over age. Like,
I'm
You
holding off
matured.
on I'm actually holding off on my bashing of WoW Classic, because if the next expansion sucks, then
Then you're just gonna go all.
then I'm
forward.
gonna go, yeah, because when it came out, it took me by surprise, because I was thinking, aren't you guys supposed to be working on my next expansion? How many of your WoW people have you taken out of just your rotation, right? And to do this, like, what's my next expansion gonna look like? Because the current one is good, but the current one is also completely non-creative. It's Legion was you could tell Legions, they were thinking outside the box. And then this expansion, they were like, just rinse and repeat what we do Classic. So
Yeah, and just more farming and grinding and farming.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
don't know. After 15 years, you wake up and you go in the WoW. Like, what do you achieve at this point? That you're
At
what
this
is it?
point-
You're like,
Dailies.
At this
today
point-
I will take.
Chris,
What?
at this point, my children, wow, Wow, my children. I mean, it's 15 years, man. I'm emotionally tied. Like you can't detach me. It's it's like I'm tied. I can't.
All right. I got to be the guy that says it though. Aren't we supposed to be looking at some games that aren't?
Yes,
WoW?
yes.
Is that what we're supposed to do today?
That has nothing to do with World of Warcraft.
Chris, keeping us on schedule. 2020.
I'm just saying, like, we don't have a single Blizzard game on our lineup today that I'm aware of. So maybe
I'm going for it. All right. Nothing.
And by the way, I would like to say for the record, when we're talking about good game companies that still exist, Paradox, right? I mean,
yes,
that's
true.
And
we're gonna
good
start
segue.
Good segue.
But no, I was like, dude, you found like the biggest Paradox fanboy, and now you're gonna have him talk about a Paradox game.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you right now, I love it just because it's got Paradox's name on it. That's just a fact.
All right,
right?
Let me press that play button, and here we go. All right, and the first game I'm gonna try and pronounce it with my best American accent.
You got
is Stellaris Federations.
Nailed
it's
it.
developed by Paradox Development Studios and is published by Paradox Interactive. In short, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. With the Stellaris Federation's expansion, players can extend their diplomatic dominion over the galaxy like never before. Use every trick in the book to gain an edge on friend and foe alike, with a host of new options to influence, manipulate, and dominate without firing a shot. Stellaris Federations. I'm just going to open up the floor, raise your hands, give the most provocative thought you can, and let's get this party started. Chris, you didn't raise your hand. Go ahead.
I'll be honest. I don't play a lot of Stellaris for a very good reason. I make games for a living, and I have better things. I have time in my life that I have to do things, and if I played much of this, that would be all of my time, right? And it's the downside of Paradox games. Actually, is A, they're extremely good. B, they're extremely addictive. But C, they just sort of assume that you've got nothing else going on in your life, right? And that's sort of the downside of Stellaris for me, has been like, yeah, this is amazing, but I can't dedicate 40 hours a week to a game anymore. I'm an adult. So
God, I couldn't have said it better.
Coward.
I know, right?
That's exactly how I feel, because I have the games installed. Like I literally have the games installed on my machine out of respect for what these guys are producing.
Then you also play World of Warcraft.
I know, right?
Yeah,
That's so weird.
Well, but actually, there's a great connecting dot with what we were saying earlier, is that I feel like the Blizzard team, when it comes to WoW, they've adapted their game so that the people who age with WoW would be able to keep playing WoW. And not have it consume their time. I mean, I played 15-20 minutes a day every day when the expansion comes out, and at the end of the expansion stage, I'm geared up on all my characters, and I can play competitively. So they've like thought that out.
I don't know. I disagree, because like WoW over time was like, hey, let's make sure that you don't have to think, you don't have to do anything. Oh, here's a little trail to take you where you want to go. Oh, here's the button that you. And Paradox games, they still expect you to, think. They still expect you to play a game, and
but that's a good thing, right?
That.
Yeah.
I still don't understand Stellaris, and I've been playing it forever. I don't get it. But with these expansions, I'm kind of careful with them, because each one of them is like $20. They're pretty expensive, and if you look at the main store page of Stellaris, there's a list of them. So I got like the robot people one, because I was like, that's great. Like, that's fantastic. And this one's caught my eye because I don't understand the diplomacy at all. Like, all I do is invade my neighbors and I lose. Like, that's
the cop training, isn't it? That's
that's my military indoctrination. Just go. Don't talk. Like,
that's exactly how it went last time I talked to the LAPD. Exactly how it played out.
Shut up.
And that's why he's in Japan now.
Can't run from that warrant forever, Chris.
And if he never comes back. So the trailer for this, though, because I've never played Stellaris, I'm not a huge space person per se. Or I know that's your bread and butter. I can have mine. And in
this week is gonna suck for you.
Because this is just.
Oh, we be in total war. It's okay.
But this this specific trailer having the individual disciplines and having various members of the team being able to talk through things very much seems like you were mentioning, Chris. This is a game that you have nothing else going on. You're a part of it. So watching this trailer is for those people. This is not a newcomer trailer.
No.
This is here's people talking you through things. Here's an expansion of a game you love. Here's the people that are working on it. Here's why you should be crazy excited. So not a welcoming trailer as a new person to the genre or their work.
But you don't feel like you're missing out? Like when you see this stuff, Logan,
No.
even if you don't feel like, because I completely agree with Chris, I feel like I'm missing out. And I just can't, because if I play this game, I'm thinking, shouldn't you be coding the
Look, this
website?
trailer
Like,
had
you
at
should be,
least
you know?
4 nerds in hoodies telling you that the game is great. How
is
many more
true.
nerds in hoodies do you need? to
Hey,
make
there was a
game
guy in a
good?
bro shirt.
You gotta keep the numbers down so they don't get infected.
Yeah. You don't want to intimidate new people.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it was just they were super passionate about what they were talking
Right.
about with constraints to the game. And if I'm not a part of that group or as excited about it, I'm like, cool, you're a nerd
Dude,
now.
you're totally a part of that group. You got the same neck beard that like 3 of them have.
This is a
You're
COVID
totally-
beard. This is quarantine.
Quarantine beer.
The COVID
Yes.
beard.
But to me, like, I mean, this type of games represent what I like best about gaming. It's you get into a game like that, you become really good at it, and then you start listening. I don't know, you start listening to the podcast, and you get on the Discord, and suddenly like your whole life starts to evolve around the game. But it only is meaningful because there's a whole bunch of people around it that feel exactly the same way, right? And when the developers are able to establish a communication channel with the gamer, with the player base, that's when true magic in gaming, in my opinion, happens. That's why I feel like it sucks. I can't do this at 37.
No, you were right all the way till the conclusion. Like the conclusion is this is what games should be. Look,
right.
I watch this. I'm you know, what's her name? Gemma, whatever, the content designer. She comes out and she's passionately talking for like 5 minutes. I mean, look, the demo, the trailer's 10 minutes long. Right. These are people that expect you to give a shit, and they
you know what?
respect their users. Right.
It took me a serious 15 minutes to find the trailer, because I was just swarmed with community videos, developer blogs.
Exactly.
Like these guys are on it. These guys are on it.
We live in a world of hyper casual games. If you went to the last couple game conventions, and God knows I did, and you talk to the fucknuts out there trying to sell games, and every one of them is like, oh, our audience, they only have about 15 seconds worth of attention, and if you don't immediately grab them, and you just want to punch them in the face. And here is this beautiful game company with a 10-minute video with neckbeards telling you about the features in their complicated. God, I'm just like, I want to give them all a hug and say, like, you're out there fighting for us. God bless Paradox.
And you know, what's beautiful about this week actually is that at the same time we're gonna talk about it later, but we also have Total War. And Total War and an expansion. And Total War for me is the opposite of this. And that's completely that statement stands completely outside of the game itself.
Okay, as a company? We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
We'll roll to that hill.
I'm gonna move on since.
I do feel like this week though we have a lot of games that are actual games.
Because I selected them, Chris.
This is.
I think with Stellaris,
I'm so happy.
Let's bash Adam since he's not here. I selected these.
Mr. Wheeler. So with Stellaris, man, I've never had a play session that didn't take my whole day from me. I mean, if I sat down on a Saturday morning with coffee and I'm like, dude, I feel like, conquering the galaxy. I spend the rest of the day on that game.
Yep.
But to be fair, you do the same thing with Destiny when you get, or not Destiny, with
Don't you dare drag this back to World of Warcraft.
I'm
How
not
dare you?
I'm not.
No, you were going Eve is where you were going, wasn't it?
Oh, dude, I can't do that game either.
We're moving on to the next game, guys. Let me turn
the
on
curse of one more turn is what I was getting to.
Yeah, exactly. Next game, nothing comes out, at least not worthy on Wednesday. Thursday takes us to Legend of Keepers, Career of a Dungeon Master. Now, this is developed and published by Goblin Studio, obviously an indie studio. Legend of Keepers is the perfect mix between dungeon management and roguelite. You have been hired as a dungeon master by the Dungeons Company. Your job is simple, protect the dungeons. And now let's make a note also, it's coming out in early access. And why early access? The developers answer early access will allow us to get the best balancing possible. Wise words. Legend of Keepers is a rich tactical game with a lot of possibilities, a lot of content, and it needs to be balanced. We also want to make the version as bug-free as possible with your help. So that's what we're looking at. It looked interesting enough to me. The production value is definitely there for indie, so I put it on the list. Looking forward to you guys' thought. Let's start with Logan, who's nodding and probably has some things to say about this.
It feels like a dungeon version of like Dev Story, and like watching this trailer, this would be one that if I had probably more of a mobile version of, as opposed to a full-blown PC one that I'd probably play it casually. Being able to be a dungeon boss, hiring the goons and the monsters and setting up the traps to kill heroes seems like an interesting idea. I don't know how much it'll rinse and repeat after you just continue to slay low-level heroes over and over and over again. Yeah. But I think it looks cute.
Fair.
To me, these games are hard to. It's very tough to evaluate just off of a Steam page, a trailer, a couple shots, and even a good description of the game, because it's always, I feel like it's always hit or miss. And when it's a miss, it's bad. And most of them are misses. And you end up in those dungeon crawlers that are boring, have nothing exciting to them really. And then there's a few of them, right, that are like big hits. And I just wonder what makes, because none of them have really gotten me going in the last 10 years. Maybe I used to play these types of games when I was younger, but I haven't. Can you guys think of a game like that you're playing now, or at least recently?
Well, this would have been possibly more like Fallout Sheltery, because you're setting up a dungeon for heroes to come in and kind of, like, you're priming monsters and traps. So it's not really you're crawling so much. It's not an interactive it is that tactical setup.
You're the anti-hero.
Trap. Yeah.
It's the anti-hero idea that you're the typical bad guy. For me, this doesn't exactly ring any bells of like bye to me, but
yeah, like Logan was saying, something you might download on your phone to play to kill some time here or there, but nothing you would want to sit down and commit, a day of gaming.
Chris,
when
like,
you have
what does it take nowadays, Chris, to make a good turn-based strategy game in the indie realm?
There's no such thing. I mean, you can make a good one, but no one will buy it. Nobody plays turn-based games anymore. It's a brutal market. It's absolutely brutal. As to this game, I mean, I don't know. I watched this trailer about.
You got the isometric studios, right? Like that. That's turn-based.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's exactly like you said. There's like 50 of them out there, and like one or two of them do well. And I look at the one or two that do well, and I look at the 48 that didn't do well, and I don't know the difference.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. That's where I'm coming from. That's exactly
that's the real problem. And I feel like, what's the difference? Well, this is the one PewDiePie played. I don't know. I mean, it's.
So you think it's all marketing?
Marketing or luck or just getting in the right cycle, or being a guy who's making a turn-based strategy game, I wish I fucking knew, right? If I knew the answer to that, I'd be a hell of a lot happier right now, because it's very difficult to get people to give a shit about your turn-based strategy game. It's very, very difficult. And I'll point out, by the way, the strategy games that are doing really well right now aren't turn-based, right? If you look at Crusader Kings isn't a turn, it's a stoppable real time, right? If you look at
real time with
Rimworld
pause, I think
Factorio or all of them, the real time with pause games are doing a lot better than turn-based games. And I'm not sure why.
You're selling a game of patience and thought to a generation of people who love to microwave everything.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but at the same time, CCGs are doing really well, and that's like a really slow experience. So I just don't know what.
Some are doing really well. I mean, I think you overhype that. I mean, there's a couple that are doing well. There's a whole lot that aren't doing well, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Again, I think you could go to the same for every 50 CCGs that are out there. 1 or 2 do well. And one of those 2 is Hearthstone. So, you know, there you go.
Yeah, true. That's the only one I could think of that I've even played. And I play it on my mobile every now and then.
And
Slay the Spire did pretty well, I guess.
And I think Hearthstone, and maybe that's the lesson learned here. I think Hearthstone doesn't feel like a slow experience. Hearthstone, when I play Hearthstone, it's intense. I feel like I'm glued to my seat. Things are moving. I better pay attention. Even though it's
you play against better people than me. Every time I play Hearthstone, I'm playing against some geriatric guy that's just like every turn. You're just like, I know exactly what you're doing. Just do it. I quit Hearthstone for that exact reason. I was like, I don't have time to wait for you, bro. Like that was the end of Hearthstone for me. I'll play a turn-based game where I'm waiting on me, but waiting on some dude I don't even know that I can't even talk to and yell at. I can just emote to him and say go go go.
Well, the next trailer is actually it's a good. Unless anybody has anything else.
That was the worst segue in the history of segues.
Anyway,
I'm sorry, guys. I got my eyes on the clock, and there are some games I want to spend more time on. So, unless anything else.
No, I got nothing.
All right,
nope.
All right, the next game we're looking at Panzer Core 2, and it's developed by Flashback Games, and I really picked it because it's published by Slytherin. I don't know if you guys are aware of Slytherin. I can't pronounce the name in English at least.
Slytherin.
You nailed it the first time. I think that was about.
Yeah, Slytherin. Yeah. And Slytherin is I know the guy. I mean, I know him by email because we've been covering their games for years now, and they really are like that niche publisher of strategy games, tactical games, war games, very very indie. You look at their website, it feels indie. And I'm a fan of what they do. I think it's great that a publisher doesn't go mainstream like in the indie realm, at least like Tiny Build, or really keeps a low profile but has like big indie titles under the belt and continues to produce stuff that is extremely tactical and caters to a very niche, like a very small niche in gaming. So this game looks especially good, Panzer Core 2. It's the ultimate Second World War strategy game. Enjoy the time-proven gameplay formula, which has been appreciated by millions of players over the years, brought to a whole new level of refinement up to the last technical standards. Chris, have you ever heard of Slytherin?
Oh yeah, of course I have. I got a lot of respect for them for all the reasons you just elucidated. I think they're one of the, if you were looking to publish a strategy game, I think they're one of the few people out there that still, do that as a niche that's not Paradox.
Right.
And it's a good company. They consistently put out good games that I think, I think they take a lot more chances than some other companies do with strategy games. I have a lot of respect for that. I think it's a solid company. I don't know if you know this, by the way. I started my career in video games making tank simulations. I actually,
whoa,
that's a true thing. The first 2 games I ever worked on were actually the second and the third games I ever worked on were an Abrams tank simulation and a Panzer tank simulation. Actually,
so this speaks to you.
Yeah. I don't know why there aren't more tank simulations. I mean, God knows that's fun, right? You drive around a great big armored car and shoot shit. Like how's that not a good time, right? So I don't know why the world's not full of these.
World of Tanks would agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and I wonder why, and looking through this video, actually, I had there's one part of the video where there's like 5 tanks on screen and they're all like 5 feet from each other and there's a battleship in the background and I'm like, you've been playing World of Tanks, haven't you? Like, they had a very World of Tanks feel. Yeah.
I think it's got a lot of selling points that, once again, it's a second version. It doesn't really show anything that's of actual gameplay because I went to Steam. Yeah. But once again, this is an established developer that's been making Warhammer 40K, which I think this is they have a laundry list of Warhammer games that they've been associated with. So I'm hoping that their fan base is just can tie the two together. And since this is a sequel, because the price point on this, I'm not sure if anybody caught because it is niche, is $69.
Up there.
Whoa!
Well,
That's
that's like the pre-order edition. It looks like the Field Marshal
now
edition.
I gotta go to the store and check this shit out. Wow.
I hope that's
$69.99.
like cut that down to 40, maybe.
No, I hope they stick it there. Come on, drag the prices back up, baby. Do it. Oh man, I would love a world where people paid $70 for games again. I think I just peed myself a little. Woo.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that if it's if that's their special edition, it's not listed very well because it's coming out this week. But ultimately, it's like you can buy it for $70 or that's it right now. I don't know if they're doing special things. None of that's
shit. Yeah, 7,200 yen. That is an expensive ass game, man.
They're not doing a good point. The differentiate
7,200 yen sounds even scarier.
So it looks like you get in with the Field Marshal edition. It looks like you get some bonus vehicle skins, the first 2 DLCs, and pre-order beta access. So that must be some sort of pre-order incentive
that you could have played for a pre-order beta that was from the
but hold on. I mean, that's but that's the thing with those niche. Like, take Starship Citizen, right? Like, take the Extreme, right? Take that game who people are buying. The game is in alpha. They've been promising the release for 5 years now, since 2014, and people are buying ships for thousands. I shit you not, for thousands of dollars in alpha.
Yep. They had a ship pack for 10 grand. I mean, people bought it.
Yeah,
dude.
It's.
I think that was your accent. You said they're buying shits, right? For that much? Okay.
Ships.
I can't believe they're actually paying that digital shit to be perfectly space shits. As far as good on them for being able to.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a minute.
Do it,
right?
Yeah.
Like $70, right?
Right.
It's a turn-based strategy game. I'm looking through the screenshots on the Steam store. This looks like a solid turn-based strategy game. It's by a company that's already made a good, this is a legitimate company, a legitimate publisher making a legitimate game for exactly what we were just talking about a second ago. People who know that this is what they want, right? $60, $70. How many hours are you going to put into this? If I break that down on a per hour commitment, what's that $70, right? Or you compare that back against how much money did you drop into the World of Warcraft, right? What's a subscription on WoW right now? Is that what, $15 a month, $20 a month? What's a WoW subscription?
12 to 15, depending.
Yeah, 12.
All right, call it $12 a month. So, all right, you got 4 or 5 months out of World of Warcraft for that, a game that's 15 years old and crap at this point. Or you can have a brand new, wonderful turn-based game that you would obviously spend weekends and weekends and weekends in. This is the price of taking 2 people to a movie 2 weekends.
Oh yeah,
in a
so
row.
you're saying spend the money.
Yeah, I'm saying the world ought to have
yeah.
$60, $70 games.
I agree. I think it's
this idea that we have to price everything at $5 because apparently our work is worth what people pay for a can of soda in a supermarket. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right. This is what games
but
are.
I mean, but to be the devil's advocate of the devil.
Bring it.
You get like $60 is $60 for me it's not that much. $60 for a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old. It's a lifetime.
Come on, look at this game. How many 13-year-olds do you think are playing Panzer Corps 2? Come on,
this is 6.
But that's exactly the type of game I want my kid to be playing, right? Like my kid gets obsessed with the stupid games. Of course he's 7, but I look at that game and I'm thinking,
so he loves Fortnite.
You want to put a 7-year-old in front of Panzer Corps 2? That's a pretty hardcore decision, man.
French. I gotta train him early. They could come back, And this time I seriously thought you guys are coming.
I think the one thing that being an indie game and being able to charge that much, at least have an original to back up that's got, very positive reviews that people liked. So maybe they are going to get people willing to pay $70 for the game.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it's fine. I think that's a good deal. That's a good business model.
But, I just want to point out, right? The Hearts of Iron 4, right? A Paradox game, right?
Another Paradox.
Right, and that's not a new game, right?
No.
That thing is still going for $40.
Yeah,
right?
Well, they just had their DLC release last week.
Total Wars 3 Kingdoms, which we're about to talk about, 6,500 yen, $65. right? So I mean, there's a price point for strategy games that someone somewhere has figured out. Look, these people are all in their 30s and 40s. They got some money, and they're not playing 500 little casual whatever games. They want to sit down and play a real game, and they're willing to pay money for it. And I would rather the honesty of drop my $65 right now than to have Hearthstone wheedle it out of me over 3 months of, here, don't you want to buy one more deck? Don't you want to buy one more deck?
Yeah, fair enough.
I've dumped at least $500, $600 in Hearthstone.
Oh my God, what is wrong with you, Chris?
No.
Seriously?
No, that's called a gambling addiction, sir.
Dude, $500 in Hearthstone makes me a noob, right? There are people that have put thousands of dollars in the Hearthstone, right? So
I think I know a guy. I think I know a guy.
We all know a guy. Everyone knows a guy who's put at least $1,000 in the Hearthstone. And so, you know, this idea that if we put $65 in a strategy game that you're going to play for a year or 2 years, why the hell not? Right? More power to them. God bless them.
Yeah, I'm not arguing him down from that.
Yeah, I could talk about the free-to-play model for Hearthstone, which is from a branding standpoint, it's genius. But let's move on to Total War. Three Kingdoms, A World Betrayed, developed by Creative Assembly, Feral Interactive on Mac, and Feral Interactive for Linux as well. And it's published by the one and only Sega. World Betrayed is the DLC, portrays a seminal moment in the history of the Three Kingdoms. Many of the iconic warlords of Total War Three Kingdoms have now passed on, a catalyst that has spurred a new generation of warlords into making a play for their own dynasties. You got 2 new factions, 13 playable factions in total, new battlefield units, new faction mechanics, new events, story missions, legendary characters, story events, and that's the DLC. I'm not gonna start. I've got like very negative things to say about Total War. Maybe we want to start with somebody who feels a bit more positive.
Someone positive, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the problem, and this is just the list.
I like it.
That's not positive.
No, I'm just saying with the list this week is this list is all a ton of sequels and people and IP that I am actually super not familiar with. This is another trailer that, once again, if I am a newcomer to a thing, it's showing a ton of cool animations. It looks like a very in-depth story to a specific game. But I don't play Total War or know much about it. So once again, as a newcomer, if looking at a trailer, someone throws this to me and I watch it from start to finish, cool. It's something to do with Asian heritage and there's war and it's a cool little cinematic thing, but it doesn't sell the product or show me much about the title itself. Price point, once again, like looking at the devs and the devs that are on this being published by Sega, and it's multiple devs working on the creative IP. There's a laundry list of shit that they've worked on. So this is well into their wheelhouse. And it's, once again, all of this stuff so far, outside of the one little monster game that should probably be mobile, it feels like a good fan service for people that are, it's just more of what they want. And seeing like all the animation work in the trailer, I think it does good service to the fans to show them that, hey, this is the story stuff you're buying.
Well, I mean, I'll say, I want to give, Creative Assembly some credit, right? Again, in the world of people making strategy games, people making real games for gamers, Creative Assembly comes up on that list, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I think, I kind of agree with you at some level with the trailer that, like, come on, show me what the actual game looks like. But they know, right? They know that
yes.
90% of the people who. Yeah,
that's my fault because I mean,
you know what this game looks like because they're not trying to get new users to come play this. They're trying to get people who play Total War to come play this because there's a couple billion people that have played Total War and they know what Total War looks like.
Yeah.
I get that, but I do actually think it's a bit of a shame because if you go look at the screenshots and stuff of the in-game play, it's great. Beautiful. It looks really beautiful. Yeah. And I'm a little bit like, why are you not showing how beautiful your in-game looks? Because it looks really nice and. It's got
but that's my fault, Chris, because they've got plenty of stuff on their website, YouTube, whatnot. Like, so all right, that's my fault.
It's not.
This game looks good. It's a good company. It's a good game. It's a good license. I want to hear why you don't like it, Fred.
Yeah, well,
I'm very curious.
I just want him to get the hell out of that space, basically, because they sell millions and millions of copies. It's the most successful war strategy games franchise out there. And it's exactly the type of game that every time I'm confronted to it, and it's quite often, frankly, like it's quite often that Total War just bumps in my face, right? Whether I like it or not. And I feel like bait, I feel like cattle. It makes me feel like cattle. It makes me, hey, here, spend another $60 on these great cutscenes that are then you're gonna move on to a very mediocre game in terms of graphics quality when it comes to AAA stuff. Like I hold AAA when it comes to graphic, especially considering PC gamers. We're dropping like $1,500 now on a graphics card. Like I want my AAA games to be up there, and they're not. Creative Assembly is I always feel like could do a whole lot better visually, graphics wise. And
then I suggest you get a job in the games industry and make something better.
That's exactly my point. You've got, like, we just spent the last half an hour talking about studios in the indie scene who really come up with the best in gaming, in my opinion, strategically speaking, like in terms of strategy games, because it brings the phenomenon that is Discord, Twitch, the community working with the devs, early access. It brings all that to a whole new level. And the fact that this game is out there, even if this game is good, it's distracting us from playing those indie games. It's basically grabbing this whole player base that would be jumping into those games, like games by Slytherin, games by Paradox, and so many others, and they're keeping them focused on this AAA solution that frankly offers nothing better. Just offers nothing better. And that's my beef with it. So yeah, I'm sure I don't even play it, and I'm sure it's a great game. But there's no need for it. This is indie turf. This is pure indie turf. Unless you're gonna blow us away.
I don't know.
I disagree.
I think they cornered that market.
That's the point of the show.
I got a brother who is a huge Total War fan, and I can tell you exactly how this goes down. He's excited because there's a new Total War and he finished the last one. He wants another one. He doesn't want to think about stuff. He doesn't want to go troll Steam for indie games. He's got shit to do with his life, but he knows he likes Total War. And it's a Saturday morning and the kids are out doing their Boy Scout stuff, and he gets to sit down and play 6 hours
Chris,
of Total War.
But that's a shitty argument, because how can you argue on one hand that you don't want indie games to be priced at $5 because indie devs are struggling, and on the other hand, don't you want to tell that guy, like, hey man, go play those games instead because they need it and they offer something that's actually just as good, if not better, than what you're playing with Sega?
I don't think I disagree that you think that this isn't a great looking game. This is a great looking game.
Yeah,
right?
The cutscenes, right? But
the end game looks pretty solid.
Oh,
It
dude,
does.
it
looks amazing.
It's awesome. I've played every single Total War from Shogun numero uno to Three Kingdoms.
Whoa!
Yeah, all of them. This is one of my favorite, like, gaming
you hate
icons to me. I love Total War. It's because of what it offers. So I disagree with you that, like, an indie game does it just the same. I get that in principle, but this is what it is. Like, these companies succeeded. Let the indie games do the same as well. Like, this is an open market for everybody. I don't think it's taking people. I think that might be a weird
I think
way
they're
of looking
building
at it.
audience. I think, look, I want more people to play more games like this. I want more games like this to be out there and be successful. And I want to see less bullshit little hyper casual games and less bullshit little, this is something that a Twitch streamer will pick up because it looks funny and it'll bring in some audience for 5 minutes on Steam. I want to see less of that. I want to see more of this. And if there's people that I can point to and say, look, Total War did great. That's a franchise that did well. That's a franchise that you can sell $50 games on. I can go to a publisher and pitch my strategy game idea because, honestly, to make these big, huge strategy games and make them big and make them beautiful, it's not something that an indie studio with 3 guys in a garage can do. Yeah. It's something somebody's going to have to fund.
Guys,
if I want to go out and get somebody to fund a game like this, I need to be able to point at something like Total War and say, that's your aspiration, Mr. Publisher. We can make one of these. and we can all make money together. And don't you want to give me the actual real money that it takes to make this game, as opposed to what's happening right now, where I go out and they're like, hey, don't you have a bunch of casual games that you've already built that we can look at that cost you $10 to make? That's the world that we're in now. And when people go out there and build quality content and sell it for $60, and it's good, solid, interesting content.
Okay.
I now have an argument when I go to a publisher that this is a valid business. And God bless them for doing it. These guys aren't stealing my audience. Fair. These guys are building my audience.
Yeah, I stand defeated. Ali,
and I'm making a strategy game, right?
No,
I'm a guy. This is not me talking out my ass. This is an actual live thing. I
can definitely see what you're saying, that this serves as an influence for investment, and I can definitely see that.
Did I just win an argument on the internet?
I think
did that fucking happen? Oh wow, 2020! It finally happened. Yes.
The year of the rat is yours.
It's all me, baby.
The whole rest of it's shit, but
2020's coming up, Chris.
Ali, you're a fan too?
I've never played the game, but just looking at, I know a ton of people who play it, Bud included, that love this game, and I think someone said that just looking at this, they didn't want to play the game. Just looking at this, I want to play this game.
Right.
It's beautiful. The screenshots of the gameplay, even the trailer.
Yeah. So did you go to actual Steam?
Yeah, I went to actual Steam.
So once I saw the actual Steam one, it's a great looking game.
It looks.
I was
amazing.
Specifically talking about the one that we were given to look at. So that's
right.
That's all.
Yeah. So I went back and I looked at Total War as well, because again I've never played it, and it just looks like I want to play it even more. Honestly.
It's great.
I don't know, it's so funny. Guys are like, I looked at this Creative Assembly game and it looks like it's pretty good. It feels to me like somebody's like, hey, I finally went out and checked out one of these Quentin Tarantino movies, and there's something to them.
They're pretty good.
Something. Actually, he seems to know what he's doing. Yes, of course, it's like a Creative Assembly, for crying out loud.
All right, we're gonna.
That's my take on it.
Anything else on Total War? Because we're gonna move on to the 3 last games coming out on Friday. Anything else?
I'm done.
All right. Okay. So
I won my argument.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
I've done all I can do here.
All right. The Friday this one's interesting. Solar Warden. Solar Warden is coming out on Friday. Published and developed by Polar Zenith, and it's a space shooter / real-time strat hybrid indie title from the developers behind MechWarrior. Living Legends command the Solar Warden space fleet from the real-time strategy overlay, the planetary defense interface PDI, into battle, or choose to assume immediate control of any of your fleet directly with the telepresence technology and combat some real techie stuff and combat the silicoid menace up close. You're looking at a space shooter, real-time strategy, 6 degrees of freedom space combat, command your fleet via real-time strategy overlay, take direct control of any of your vessels, full co-op support up to 4 players, fully voiced English campaign, persistent diplomacy, research, planet damage, and just a bunch of other crap. But this game looks like, it's got body, it's got flesh, it's got dimension. Is it in early access or is it full release? I think not full release. It's not, very impressive visually, but I feel like there's this type of we haven't seen space stuff much lately, which is a good thing, because we got flooded by it a couple years ago. And I don't know. Does anyone want to get anything started on this?
HUD before your light goes out and your gerbil that's apparently keeping your lamp. Right. Because you're getting slowly darker and darker.
Yeah, the sun's going down. I'll just keep up an internet screen. There we go. I'll just keep up a white screen for you.
There you go.
Hey, thanks, bud. But no, this feels like this would be something that you'd enjoy, maybe?
Yes. So I think it looks pretty cool. I like the idea that it's the persistent diplomacy. And I don't know if any of you played Rise and Fall way back in the day, Civilizations at War. It was an RTS.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was actually pretty cool. It had the same like Age of Empires base building but your population limit of troops was like 10,000. But you could also have a hero unit that you could take direct control over. So you could have Achilles if you were the Greeks. You could take control over him and fight on the field with all your guys that you've been building and spending all these hours on.
Yeah.
Cool idea. Cool game. Haven't played it in years, obviously. But this kind of makes me think about that if it kind of grew up into orbit and started blowing up ships, dude. So the idea that you can possess any unit and just go into the fight is like kind of intriguing. I don't know if this is going to be, when they say persistent diplomacy, does that mean like persistent from mission to mission, or is this a campaign map that we have full control over, that we're going to go and
I don't know. There were a lot of words in that description, and I got lost.
Yeah,
correct.
You know why there was a lot of words in that description? Because they just rattled off everything that they had as a Kickstarter promise.
Yeah.
So this was 2 years ago. This was funded for $40,000 on Kickstarter, and those are that's their feature list of things that they promised. So it's just regurgitated as promised deliverables.
You see, this is my whole point, right? We live in a world where that huge list of shit, somebody said like, yeah, that's worth $40,000. No, to build something like that should take a lot more money than $40,000.
A lot more,
right?
Yeah.
But God bless them. It looks like they built something out of it.
And there's a demo, so this is as risk-free of a purchase as you could buy today.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Download the demo.
Yeah. I mean, God bless them for it, but it's the expectations of the people of 2020 that they're like, I want a persistent world, and I want to be able to control any single spaceship. I want to also move my fleet around and all of that, and I want to pay $40,000 for that. And the world was like, okay, we'll try. Stop that! That's not a $40,000 dream. Fucking Chris Roberts has spent how much money on trying to build essentially the same thing? Right? What is that? I forget the name of his boondoggle.
Star Citizen?
Yeah, that's the one. Like, what are they up to now? $1 billion in Ethereum or something? I don't know what the fuck that costs.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And where's my free demo of that? Right?
You got to pay $60 for the demo, dude.
Yeah, and it's funny. I bring it up because when I first looked at this, I was thinking to myself, wow, it is weird that nobody's really made a new Privateer. I don't know if you guys remember Privateer from back in the day. That was Chris Roberts' first big game at Origin. And it was, it was kind of like this. You flew a spaceship around, and you had a loadout screen where you put new stuff on it, and then you went and flew with the new stuff and got to launch new missiles and stuff. It's such a basic design. And it was back in like the late 90s, I want to say. There was like Privateer, and remember there used to be all those mech games where you would load out your mech and you'd stomp around in your mech and you'd shoot missiles and stuff. This is right when I started video games or started making video games. And I don't know why we don't make these anymore. I mean, just the
Mech Assault.
I love those.
I love
those.
Yeah, I mean, just the gameplay loop of I'm going to build a thing, and then I'm going to take the thing out and shoot shit with it. That's a fun game loop, and it looks like they've got that in this. Right?
I just think there's some cool stuff in that trailer. There's some cool stuff in it. Like some of it is very kind of I don't feel excited about this game. I feel like especially the combat in space doesn't look all that great. But I'm intrigued by that scene where you've got the two astronauts looking at the cave. I want to go down that cave as a gamer. I'm intrigued by it.
There's something Freudian in that.
Must touch.
And then
I've seen a hole.
And then like there's some animations and just cutscenes. The editing on that trailer with the monster coming on the side and then shifting to the ship. Like there's talent there, I guess.
It's not a $40,000 Kickstarter project.
It's not exactly, and that's the problem. But had you given those guys a lot more money, they would have come up with a solid game. Is my intuition just looking at that trailer.
It looks interesting. I'm actually gonna go check this out just because it looks different. It's people I've never heard of making something.
Yeah, right. Because that's
cool.
That's kind of the point, right? Like,
it's demo.
like, wow, they built like that's. You said it best. Like, wow, they built this with $40K.
I'm curious to see what $40K buys you in today's market, because this looks like a lot of game.
Top ramen for like a couple years and build your game. That's what it buys you. That's it.
Unity assets. That's what it does.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just survive basically until this game.
I want to say something, by the way, on that comment. Am I the only person that is just fucking sick of seeing Unity's logo at the beginning of everybody's trailer?
Yes. No,
I'm
you're not. I am.
Like,
I am too.
come on, I get it.
Stop
You're a game tool. You get to go in the end of the credits, right? When I go see a movie, they don't start with like the brand of film that it was shot on, right? That shit goes in the end of the credits with like the union notice. Why do I gotta see Unity's goddamn name at the beginning of every trailer?
I know.
It's a little bit upsetting to me.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
They could pay and have it removed. If they paid Unity, they can remove it, but the devs don't want to pay.
Is that what it is?
Right.
You have to pay to get rid of
It's
it?
totally a checkbox. You don't have to have the Unity front end splash logo.
Yeah.
If you pay for it. You have to pay that out though?
Yeah, you have to pay it out.
Correct.
Yeah, fuck Unity for doing that.
but
That's lame, dude.
Some
Come
of
on.
them look real good, though. I gotta tell you. Some of them.
Well, the sad part is sometimes the Unity logo is the best looking part of the trailer.
Yeah. I would say not a lot of the times. I mean, I think most of the times the Unity logo is the best part.
I don't need you to one up me with your Unity logo before you even get to my game. That's not cool.
All right, the next game is Slayers for Hire, and that's coming out in early access. Let me pull the trailer. Here it is. Boom. Developed by Meta Games, published by Meta Games, Slayers for Hire is an indie platformer fighter with an emphasis on speed, precision, and creative characters. If you want something fresh to play with your friends, look no further. Playable online or locally with 2 to 4 players. We've seen this so much already, right? Like this, and I hate to be negative right from the get-go because it's on the list because there's definitely some production quality. It looks decent. I like the backgrounds. It looks like an indie team of 5 to 10 people at least. But the question is like, I don't know. Maybe I'm too old for this.
You're not old. You're very generous at 5 to 10 people. I don't think it would require this many to put out this project.
Oh yeah, at least 5. Come on, give them 5.
No. I'm saying
5. Yeah.
All right, I meant to say 10 would be a stretch for me mentally. It's unique. It fits into a genre that is the Super Smash Brothers with this skin tossed onto it, but it's missing things that sell it to me. The trailer's not great. And my favorite part of the trailer, though, and I went back several times to this, is starting at 38 when they show world-class online play. And they guide you through a menu flow, and they go to search, and it says no rooms were found. If you're going to use your own flow in a trailer, that is the worst thing to show ever for a multiplayer game of like, we're just doing this as a demo, but like nothing right now, but just imagine just tons of rooms. Pretend.
You think they could have gotten at least the other 4 guys to log on?
Just one other room, so you didn't show no rooms were found.
Yeah,
visibly possible.
But
I
feel like Steam or whoever else should solve this problem that indie studios have when it comes to online multiplayers. And we should share a pool of players or something. Like you should.
They have to own this game, and for multiplayer games like this, you're not going to get enough people to find matches. It'll be you and your buddies.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
I'll tell you, this is the killer, and I'm fighting this personally right now. I have a multiplayer game in early access right now, and this loop of I have a game that's really best in multiplayer, but there's nobody to play multiplayer with, and because there's no one to play multiplayer with, nobody sits around and waits. Like getting out of that death spiral is really, really hard. For a developer right now, that's extremely difficult.
Exactly.
It's a pay-to-win scenario right now for a developer, and you can't do it on your own.
No, it's very difficult.
I see so many indie games that look fun, that are great actually. You take games like, even we did a bunch of esports event last years on a couple of these, like Spellthorn, and another few ones, and they are fun. They are great. Some of them are not all of them, and I don't know if this one is, but some of them are fantastic games. But the moment they hit, there's no presence, right? Like there's no the servers are desert, and even if you have 20 players who love your game, that's still not enough to give the experience of, hey, I'm just logging out.
The worst is people are like, well, you'd have more people if you had this feature and this feature and this feature multiplayer, and you're like, I'm gonna add all this stuff. It's gonna cost a gajillion fucking dollars, and Bob, you're gonna show up and you're gonna tell me, yeah, I wouldn't have done the feature like this. And I'm just, worst.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah, it's very, very hard.
Multiplayer. There's too many fragmented communities. There's too many big things that pull. Like the new Modern Warfare dropped, and all of a sudden you can see any chance of an audience just shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
Even on Call of Duty, they've had so many Call of Duties now. There's still people playing Call of Duty 4.
Yeah.
There's still people playing the first Modern Warfare as opposed to the new re-released one because it's what they own. And ultimately, dollars and cents talk a lot when it comes to this. And there's just way too much content.
All right, wait. I've got the solution for us. Here's the solution, right? It'd be the Unity logo solution, right? You can pay to get rid of it, right? So when you get the game, right, the game costs $100, but you can bring the price down to $20 by being in the server, right? So like every hour you're in the server, the price comes down because you were there and being a bud for all the other multiplayer.
You want to do the reverse.
That's a terrible solution.
Upcharge. So instead of, that's. Just hear them out. Instead of free to play and taking the gamble on an audience needing to be injected in for you to make money off of a percentage, you overcharge and you have 100 people fighting to make money back to make their game. Could be great. It's reverse free.
Wait. No. I got a better idea. Here's what we can do. I get pay to play, but you don't pay me. You pay the other guy. Right, so there's you can be like, I need somebody to play this game with. I'm willing to donate 25 cents right now to anyone who's willing to play this game with me. And then you have a bidding, right? And you can bid to see who bids I'm telling you, this has got legs, right? Actually have a bidding war for how much am I worth? And you can have
bits,
offer friend services is basically what it is.
If you put a little chat window in the corner of your game with a little camera, you could get pretty and attractive people that would charge more to play games with you. Fred, you and I, there's a business model right here waiting to happen.
Let's talk.
The proposal needs to be written. Oh my God. It'd be right there, the window up in the corner. How much would you bid to play this game with her? That's it. I'm done. My business proposal is complete.
All right.
It's not a terrible plan. It's not a terrible plan.
I'm gonna move on.
You laugh. In another 3 years, Activision's gonna make $1 billion on this idea.
All right, this is the big one.
Watching right now.
This is the big one, guys. Doom Eternal, developed by ID Software, and I have questions about that. And published by well, I have questions. Is it ID Software? I get into it. Published by Bethesda Softworks, which just pre-show I was talking about Bethesda and how I still very much value Bethesda. Hell's armies have invaded Earth, become the Slayer in an epic single-player campaign to conquer demons across dimensions and stop the final destruction of humanity. The only thing they fear is you. I'm gonna stop here because it's Doom. I don't need to get into.
Yeah, I'm like, it's Doom. It's got a story.
We know what happened.
Exactly. It's like
I
don't need a story. It's Doom.
I have a gun.
Baby.
I shoot
bring
them.
It.
What the story?
I am psyched. It's coming out Friday. I can't wait. Doom is the reason I moved to PC when I was a kid because it was a Doom 2, I think. And it got its hooks on me. It made me a PC gamer. So I'm a very special tie to Doom. And Doom then disappeared for a while. They brought it back and it sucked. It's like go away. And then something happens, and I don't know if that's when it walked into the chambers of the great, the mighty Bethesda. But they did it right. The last Doom was freaking epic. It was an adaptation. It was a 2020 adaptation, 2017, 18, I don't know when it came out, adaptation of what they did beautifully back then. I think they could improve the shotgun, the double barrel shotgun, which was the reason I loved Doom in the first. Is that was that sound when you popped it on those Diablo things. I was like, oh, and yeah, I'm so psyched about the second one. I can't wait. I'm gonna play it in hard mode because I played the other one in normal, and I regretted doing that afterwards. And I'm just gonna flip the. I mean, Corona, fight the way. Let's stay home and do this. So that's what.
Right, before we talk about anything, I want to bring up one point about this because we were talking about it earlier. If you go to the Steam store and you'd like to look at what the pre-purchase price for Doom is, $86.
Oh fuck.
Nope.
That's for the deluxe edition.
That's
yeah. But no. The deluxe edition, $123.
What?
Where do you see
Nope.
that?
Here in Japan.
$89.99 for deluxe and
you're getting
$59.99
overcharged.
For that price, for that price, I want the Doom toothbrush.
In Japan, we pay more, I guess.
I guess so.
But even so, those are real prices for video games. Even the lower prices you're quoting, those are real prices for video games. Yeah. And I, for one, welcome our overpriced video game overlords. And yes.
This actually tends to become the staple, right? Of the AAA, if they know they're going to get it and they want to try and get that upfront price as opposed to relying on DLC conversions. Because the pre-purchase, the Doom thing, we give you a little bit more digital stuff either way. And we just seed you with DLC 1 and 2, and you get the soundtrack and a bunch of other stuff. And we'll digitally surprise you with how many things we sneak into this. And sometimes it's great value for money for the consumer, like you said, Chris, for multiplayer games. If you're going to buy it and you're a fan and you want to continue to see more of these products like Modern Warfare or Doom or Assassin's Creed, that I don't necessarily need a $150 collector's one. I'm not a super fan, but a $90 Doom and I get the DLC and I just don't have to worry about it in the future is exactly what I want to pay for.
But honestly, like I'm totally fine with if you ask $90, $100 out of me. The game better be great. But if the game is great, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, and I would compare this back against when we started this broadcast. We were talking about Stellaris, which right now Stellaris is on sale. You can go buy that game for less than $9. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But if you like the game, well, now you can start buying DLC, right?
And
you're going to buy. And well, actually, they're all on sale right now, 50%. But they're all,
that's good.
But I mean, on sale, you're right. When they're not on sale, they're $20 a pop, right? So how many $20 add-ons do you have to buy to get to $100? Not a lot, right? 5 by my math. So the question is, which is more honest to the user, right? And you've really got 3 models because we were talking about World of Warcraft earlier, right? So how fast do you get to $100 in World of Warcraft? Well, that's about 6 months worth of World of Warcraft subscriptions. So
once you have 2 accounts, like my husband.
Oof. Wow, your dark horse husband. Chris just looks so pained right then. He looks so pained.
Why?
You took his argument and you just stuck a knife in him and he had to blink to reboot.
No, I don't even understand why anyone would have 2 World of Warcraft accounts in 2020.
You can ask him.
I just don't.
Stop, Chris. Stop with the. I like.
But no, my point is, if we are willing to admit to ourselves that like $100 is a reasonable price to pay for a game that I really love, that I'm going to put a lot of time into, the question is, how do I get that $100 out of a user? Do I charge it right up front? Like Doom is doing. Do I charge it through a bunch of DLCs? Do I charge it over months and months worth of subscription? Or do I try to nickel and dime it out of you with a bunch of lollipop hammers and Candy Crush, right? Which is the legitimate way to get $100 out of a user, which I honestly think for something that they're going to spend months and months playing is not an unreasonable amount of money. Yeah. Right. I've spent more than that on a shit date.
Forget the money. Does this not look good?
No, it looks great.
Yeah.
No.
Right? Does it look good to you, Chris?
There's a setting that they put on all the TVs now. And I can't remember what the name of the setting is, but it's like it changes the
4K.
No, not 4K. It's when you buy a big new TV right now, all your favorite movies now look like soap operas. Yeah, it's the motion smoothing or whatever setting.
Yeah, motion smoothing with it. Sure.
And you have to turn the motion smoothing off, or all your movies look like shit because they all look like.
That's what it is.
Did we get a trailer in French?
Oh, did you not know about this? Yeah. It's
it's a French touch. It's French.
Oh,
look at that. So anyway, no. So they've got this setting on TVs, and there's something about the visual look of the new Doom that reminds me of that, where it's like it's too sharp, it's too reflective, it's too like it doesn't have the grittiness that I want out of a Doom game. I don't know. I don't like the visual choice. I'm sure it's fun. I'm sure it's a great game. It's Doom, you know, and yeah, it looks pretty, but there's something about the particular visual look that they've gone with where it's really, really sharp. There's a lot of specularity on everything, and it's like look at my tech demo. It looks very much tech demo.
I disagree. I feel like they very much carried the vibe from the original Doom into the new games. Yeah, it feels like look at that hitting.
So the first half of the trailer doesn't allude to that, so you have to make it to the second half, which is more like the hell dirty texture, because the up front is their like
it's like the
earthy clean tech story.
Yeah, I guess everything just looks so sharp and well. I don't know.
But what do you want, Chris? Like, what else? Oh, look at that demon, and just that demon that comes and hit. I just want to take my weapons and just burn him down, you know.
I think I'm just being argumentative because someone on the group had to. It looks like a good game. I can't.
Did Chris just lose an argument on the internet?
Easy come, easy go.
2020's ruined.
Give and take.
Yeah. It wasn't doing so well to begin.
Balance restored.
I mean, the problem is you're like, okay, so again, a bit of my history, Fred. The very first game that I made was a Doom clone, right? The very, very first game that I ever made in the game industry is a game called The Fortress of Dr. Radiaki, and it was a dead, flat Doom clone. And we sat around and played a whole bunch of Doom, and we're like, well, we could do something like that. And that was how I started in the game industry.
That's awesome.
And so I have a long history with Doom as well. And come on, it's Doom. You're gonna. I wouldn't argue for $100
huh?
It's the father of all great things in video games.
Yeah, whatever. I can't talk bad about it. Whatever, man. It's I lose. Oh, what a terrible way to end this.
No, it's perfect. It's balanced.
I guess I can agree with you that I also don't like the whole cinematics with the design of the guys in space suits. Like I'm also kind of, but the moment you get into gameplay, boom, you're there. It's done right, and that's all that matters to me. The gameplay. I had a ton of fun with the last one.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys have fun with it?
The last one had story that was still sunk into the in-between points, which could have been enough for your average fan, for something that's just a soldier down in hell with a very lucid story.
On Mars.
So on Mars, depending on which adaptation you're in.
Yeah.
But
I want to ask a question to the group. Do you guys, I mean, look, we live in a world where like you got Netflix and YouTube, you watch as many movies as you want. How many in-game cinematics do you really watch in this? Because I don't watch.
Depends on the game.
Depends on the game.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows me, and I can't sit and watch a game that's just play for 3 seconds and then a 15-minute cinematic.
Yeah.
Even if it's like an hour of gameplay and 30 seconds worth of video, I still spacebar through the videos.
I can hang on for that, but I can't remember what I tried to play The Witcher the other day. I thought I would like it, and it was just 5 minutes of gameplay, 20-minute trailer.
Okay. Hold on, Ali. No, don't do that. Don't do that, Ali, because what you just said is sacrilegious, and I tell you
it's
why.
It's just not for me.
No. What you just said, you cannot speak like that about The Witcher. The Witcher 3.
It's just not for me. That's it.
No, but it is. That's the thing. It is.
It is for me.
Yes. Let me explain. Because I completely connect with you on the whole. I don't care about that story, and like I think in the hardcore gamer universe, this consensus that we seem to have right now on this show, we're actually a minority. People very much care about the storyline.
Really?
I know a ton of people big time. Love that stuff.
Oh yeah, big time.
Because like, I can tell you from a production standpoint, right? If you're making video games, the amount of time and energy and money that goes into those goddamn things
single player
compared against the actual gameplay that you're going to spend your time playing is more than substantial. It's an incredible amount of time and energy. And to me as a game player, I just feel like, man, if you're going to spend that money, give me more units, give me more maps, give me more you know, balance the features better, give me more gameplay. I don't want to snow, because I mean, you look at what was the game we were looking at earlier, the Three Kingdoms one, Total War. Yeah. You look at Total War and you look, I mean, those videos were not cheap. Just making those videos was an entire production process.
That's
right?
$5 million right there.
And there's a part of me that's like, you could have made a whole nother game with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to space bar through that shit. And I get it if you're playing an RPG or something like that. But in my strategy game, really? I mean, come on. Everyone here played Civilization. Did you ever watch any of the stupid goddamn videos in Civilization?
No, but that's that. I'm convinced, like that's you have.
Oh, we got hands. We got hands.
Wait, somebody watch those? Really?
Some of them, yeah, because you know, at a certain point, I just get curious.
Those terrible things where they made Julius Caesar look like Sid Meier, and
really a little funny sometimes. I don't know.
Maybe I watched them out of boredom while I went and got popcorn, but I
just want to play. I don't want to watch the thing. I just want to play.
Yes, well, that's the thing. But when you cut the scenes, Ali, when you cut the scenes in The Witcher, which I did, I cut them all. I still had the time of my life. The gameplay is fantastic. The game, you don't need to listen to the story to love The Witcher. If you're an RPG player, The Witcher 3, you're missing out. You're missing out big time.
But my problem is when you try to get a game through a publisher right now, they're going to sit down and talk about, okay, well, where's all your cutscenes and where's all your whatever? And you're just like, fuck, I got to put budget and time and money on that.
Because these people are not gamers. They think
but they're I mean, again, if you're making a game that you can't make for yourself in the garage.
Look at Telltale. I mean, Telltale for me is the perfect expression of, we like to say we care about the story, but at the end of the day, the people who focus on that will go bankrupt. No matter how hyped up it can be and how sophisticated as a community it can make us look. Gamers care about gameplay. I truly believe
it just reminds me. Do you remember back in the old days of like the Atari 2100 or 2600? Remember those? No. Hear me out. Right? You went and got the little, the cartridge that you stuck into the thing, right? And there was a picture on the outside of the cartridge that had fuck all to do with anything you were about to play. But it had like guys with laser pistols and aliens, all kinds of great shit. And you plugged it in and it was Pong. And you were like, what the hell was this? And I feel sometimes like the videos are like that. I feel like they're like, here's all this shit that doesn't matter. And we made it all. It's just basically in-game marketing for the game. But here's the actual game you're going to play. It looks absolutely. I mean, you look at we watched the trailer for Panzer II or whatever that was. There wasn't a second of gameplay in it, right? Yeah. And what was sad to me was, as a strategy gamer, I went to the Steam page. I looked at the Steam page. I got excited about, look how good these in-game shots look. This looks like a really great strategy game. But no, you can't show that. You have to show this shitty, tanks driving around, shooting each other, and planes driving towards the camera. I don't care about any of that in a strategy game. Just let me play the goddamn game. I don't care about that any more than I cared about the picture of the girl with the laser pistols on the front of my Pong game back in 1992. Right? That's my take on it.
Well, on that note,
did I win that argument?
Yeah, well, I think we all agree on that note. I will.
I could not let this stand without being right. Damn it!
No, but it's also my fault. I think for the Noobcast, I need to start focusing on putting trailers that show you more gameplay and less cutscenes, because I tend to just put the mainstream one up, and just move on. Just capacity, resources we lack. But that's it. I mean, anything else on Doom aside from the fact that I think we're all excited?
Definitely getting it.
For Corona party 2020.
Yeah. Gonna fight that virus.
With a whole lot
of demons.
With a BFG.
Hey, look, the government told me that the patriotic thing to do was to stay home and play video games. I can't argue, right?
Yeah.
This is me loving my country, is what this is. Yeah.
Saving Earth.
My country. Beautiful.
I'm gonna skip the giveaways. I didn't do any giveaways tonight, and I apologize to the team. No, because I got overwhelmed. Because I had to do
the motion.
I had to do the. I had to speak my thoughts.
Are we doing this again next week? Are we?
Yeah.
Is this happening?
So we're sticking to it, and we're getting a.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. That's why.
Yeah.
Because Fred was drinking on stream.
Stella. Yeah, we're doing it every Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. I guess that's 9:30 a.m. for you, Chris. And Adam.
As we found out, yeah.
Adam is not officially out of the show, I guess. Honestly, I just want the show to happen every Tuesday night religiously. So when Adam can make it, he'll host. You have me as a backup plan. Logan also volunteered. So just whatever.
Maybe in the future, Fred has convinced me.
I'm officially volunteering to never host this show.
You're not hosting because
I'm just saying for a fact. I will never host this show. That's never going to happen.
I don't see you.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, guys. But we have fun doing it. All right, I think that's it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Check us out on opnoobs.com. We've got a lot of good stuff happening on the website, and come find us on Discord as well. We've got whole community over there. And I'll shut up now. I think I've spoken enough. And wash your hands. Wash your hands.
Don't touch your face.
Yes, don't touch your face. Wash your hands.
Which I'm sure I did this whole stream. I'm just like,
don't fight this up. Wash your hands. Do not go outside. Which, frankly, for gamers, is fine.
Great.
Yeah.
You know, when they told me what
kind of a blessing.
Because, yeah, I was like, and I'm upset. Why?
Yeah.
Alright, peace out, guys. Thanks for tuning in.